Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching and Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channels. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you seasoned veterans of what we do around here. What we do around here is bring about conversations of a psychological, mental health, emotional health paradigm. Nope, we bring forward wrestling-related content, old school, new school, and all points in between. Nearly 2,200 of these available. Probably going to cross the 2,200 barrier before we get to the end of the year, end of 2021. Would like to double that in 2022, if not more. But anyway, including footage from Monday Night Raw, Sherry and Luna Brawl, featuring special report segment focusing on the brawl between Shawn Michaels and Mr. Perfect during the um, WrestleMania 9, including WrestleMania music video. Doink the Clown defeating Jim Powers via submission 304 with a stump puller. Doink the Clown, of course, still Matt Bourne here in this early phase of the gimmick. I don't think it switches to Rey Apollo till after SummerSlam at 93 or so. But anyway, we kind of get going there, and continues to be a pretty basic match here. Suplex along the way. Bourne always innovative at the time with his offensive maneuverings. Not exactly a guy that you can't, ultimately are going to trust on a continual basis to give you the best of situations, but Bourne certainly is a guy who you can certainly embrace as an individual who tries to give you the best he can where he can, and Doink again, punch, kick, stump, puller, and as mentioned, that WrestleMania music video, pretty big deal at the time. Off the WrestleMania album, as I get an email notice, and ultimately that stump puller leading to a victory over Jim Powers. 1993, not that big a deal, but Shawn Michaels complaining about having to face Scott Hall for the Intercontinental Championship. The championship is something that Shawn's still holding on to. Bret Hart kind of commiserating over not being champion anymore and wanting to get his hands back on Yokozuna at local upcoming house shows. Nassau Coliseum. Saturday night, May 1st, is the event that they are plugging here pretty heavily. Of course, Nassau, New York, and the syndicated market's always having something different. Sherry Martel and Luna Vachon is highlighted next, promoting the Coliseum video release, and then they go into several minutes of the brawl between the two on the outside of the ring, and pretty basic stuff. Ultimately, there's then we kind of get the nature of Sags and Knobs, and ultimately getting there in a match with the Beverly Brothers at the time. Beverly Brothers, Blow and Blake, pretty, I wouldn't say great team, but very good featured team for the last little while. A match that goes nearly 10 and a half minutes or thereabouts. Kind of an interesting run there, and the Nasty Boys are pretty direct, pretty basic, and hitting a couple of shots along the way. And there's some kicks, and ultimately, missing clotheslines. Jerry Sags manages to get clotheslines and some hip tosses, basic things. Knobs comes in. Knobs a bit more the brawler. Not that Sags isn't a brawler, but Knobs having less technical acumen at the time. The Beverly Brothers continue to go heads up. Beverly Brothers cut Knobs and Sags off pretty easily. Knee to the spine, the Beverly Brothers eventually do fall prey to the Nasty Boys. Of course, April seems to be a time, post WrestleMania, they seem to put more marquee matches. They go through a commercial break, which at the time is pretty weird. Beverly Brothers cutting off the ring on the Nasty Boys pretty aggressively here, and ultimately leading to the Beverlys trying to get a suplex over. Does not get the suplex over. Brian Knobs gets sent to the outside. Beverly Brothers in control during the process, and manages to go in a direction there. And anyway, so Knobs get sent to the outside, double team on Sags. Miscommunication between the Beverly Brothers leads to a victory for the Nasty Boys, and with a roll up, basically a schoolboy, which we see way too many of them now, but at the time, Schoolboy wasn't a horrible finish in 1993 by any stretch of the imagination. Narcissus Lex Luger post his WrestleMania run. Think about this, less than 2 months later, he's going to be the biggest babyface in the WWF, but nobody would have known it at the time. Luger, going into his enhancement match here, battering down an opponent that is relatively unnamed. Let's see if I can get some sort of name there. Let's see here. We got Lex Luger defeating Jesse Carls just in 2 minutes. The running forearm, starting to investigate the forearm as a distraction point post the WrestleMania 9 thing. Then, of course, we go to Tito Santana and Dale Wolf. Tito Santana still doing the El Matador gimmick through probably the summer of '93 is when that gimmick dies a death. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it certainly wasn't particularly, a strong gimmick at the time. Tito hits arm bars, arm drags, and the like. Nothing too out of sorts, and the hammer is a pretty basic thing there. Going into the remainder of things. Then we go to another in the enhancement match series, this time ultimately a run there with, various individuals who are, I guess you'd kind of consider it enhancement talents that are understated. Also, WrestleMania report once again. Hennig and Luger is the focus there. Lord Alfred Hayes bringing about questions about the authenticity of the forearm for Luger. Obviously, they do the forearm is loaded by the couple of months later, but that's not where we are in that run here. We go to Money Incorporated in an enhancement match. Money Incorporated, of course, your tag team champions, losing to the Steiner brothers within the next little while. IRS doing the kickoff, basic maneuvers, and nothing, notable with the enhancement. IRS at the time taking more of the matches. Of course, DiBiase retiring from active in-ring competition in August of this year. Do wonder what would have happened with DiBiase going into, late 93, early 94 at the time. The write-off from IRS gets him where he needs to be. Jim Duggan talking about going at it with Yokozuna now that Yokozuna is your world champion. Also, upcoming Madison Square or Nassau Coliseum, May 1st, Mr. Perfect and Shawn Michaels for the Intercontinental title. A lumberjack match for Duggan and friends, and Bret Hart and Lex Luger on top in Nassau in a couple of weeks. And that's pretty basic to where we're going from here. We'll be back with more right after this.